to have a creative thinking, mathematical thinking, you should be able to break the rules, to try and experiment, to make your own conclusions. This is what we are trying to achieve, and it's working.
Women need to empower women, and our voice matters.
Bitch.
Welcome to the Mom Bitch Podcast. This episode of the Mom Bitch Podcast is brought to you by BTRNation.com. Oh, hey, busy mama. Do you need a snack that is not just healthy, but also delicious? Check out BTR Nation. With low sugar, low carb, high protein, high fiber, and low sodium, BTR Nation snacks are perfect for keeping you fueled and feeling fantastic throughout the day. Whether you're tackling your to-do list or you're enjoying a rare moment of peace, these snacks have you covered. Plus, for a limited time, you can use code MOMBATCH to get 20% off and free shipping. So do not wait. Visit BTRNation.com. They even have a snack quiz so you can help discover your favorite healthy treats. Natalia Pereldik, welcome to the Mom Bitch Podcast. We are so excited you're here. You are the founder, well, one of two, right? One of two founders of Exploring Fun Expected Math.
Yes, you're totally right. And thank you. Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah. So you guys have really just kind of changed up the digital space with math tutoring. And you have developed an app that really helps basically like replace a tutor right from your own device. So I'm wondering if you can give us a little bit more information on how this came about, the backstory.
Yeah, sure. So we have two co-founders, and we met more than 20 years ago, not surprisingly, at a math school for gifted kids. So we became fast friends. We graduated and had our university majors in theoretical math. And did a lot of silly things together, went through thick and thin, and hitchhiked across Europe without mobile phones, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But then we understood that we didn't want to pursue the academic math career. So I spent more than 13 years in investment banking as a trader on the trading floor. And my friend Sasha, she spent more than 13 years in marketing and design. And then we had kids, and they grew up a little. And this was effectively the point when everything changed. We had a very, mathematical rich childhood. And what I mean by that is that our parents loved solving puzzles, showing them to us, playing math with us. As an example, one of my favorite books was a book by Raymond Smullin, The Lady and the Tiger. It's a book with logical puzzles when a brave young man is presented with several doors, and each room contains a beautiful lady or a tiger. And the man should use logic to find the lady and avoid being eaten by the tiger. So this was the kind of things which were natural to our childhood. Like we drew maps, we solved puzzles. And when our kids started to explore mathematics, we wanted this experience for them. We saw that mobile devices provided a great opportunity to enhance this experience. We checked the market and saw that most math apps were trying to emulate school programs in a digital environment. So this was very different from what we envisioned as a math-inspiring environment, and we decided to give it a go.
That's awesome. And you guys have had how many downloads? It's been over 1 million, right?
Yes. Currently, it's over 1 million.
That's amazing. And so you mentioned that when you developed the app, you wanted it to be different than what children see in an academic environment. So can you explain a little bit more what is inside of the app and how it's different?
When people are talking about mathematics, they usually are talking about numbers, about numeracy. And this is definitely a very important part to be fluent with numbers. But what we knew from our experience, and to be honest, from the experience of all our classmates in this gifted math school, that it's very important to have this engagement with much broader themes. Like you can do mental folding, you can do logical puzzles, you can try and, build things and look for projections. So this is all mathematics. This is what we not only wanted to show as a creative subject, but we also knew from our offline experience of working with small children that being fluent with spatial thinking, with algorithmic thinking, with early coding will help you being fluent in numeracy. And this is something which is overlooked in the classrooms.
Yeah. And then at what age is it appropriate for a child to download the app and start utilizing this like applied math?
So we are focusing on the age from 3 to 7. And this is a conscious decision because this math gap starts very early. It starts as early as 4 or 5 years, and then it's really difficult to catch up. So if you are behind at this age, it's difficult to catch up. It's the same as if you would start literacy interventions at 9 or 10 years. So this will not be the most effective way to do that. That's why we are really focusing on young kids, on small kids, because this is the age when they are exploring the world, when they are learning to be creative, to enjoy themselves doing mathematics.
Yeah, like so Laken, he's my son. He'll be 2 in a few weeks, and like I had no idea how quickly children learned math and like actually can like cognitively understand 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, like as a parent, I really need to like lean into this and find ways to help encourage that education because I wasn't really great at math in school. So can you tell us a little bit more about how this helps serve as a tool for parents?
I think, first of all, when we were creating Funexpected Math, we understood that a lot of parents have these barriers. So you're not alone. More than, I think, 70% of grown-ups in the US experience some form of math anxiety. And it's really difficult to discuss something with your child if you're afraid of it. And also, we are totally want to support parents. Like if you are enjoying art, for example, you should discuss art with your kid. This is the time you spend together. It should be enjoyable. When we were creating and designing Funexpected Math, we wanted to for parents to spend as much or as little time as they want on mathematics. This is a self-paced program. It has a digital personal tutor inside, so the child can do that on their own. But also we included various formats for parents to engage. For example, we have festive quests, like Christmas quest or Chinese New Year quest or Easter quest. You can just have a small, enjoyable experience together. Or we have some tutorials when you can use scissors and paper for exploring symmetry. So these are like video tutorials showing you some creative side of mathematics. Again, you can do it together. And the interesting thing is that we participated in a large randomized control trial conducted by Behavioral Parenting Club in the University of Chicago. And what they found is that when kids are doing math activities using the mathematical apps, they hear much more praise than when parents are doing offline math activities with them. So this is surprising, right? It seems they are doing offline math activities maybe takes some toll on parents. So you are already a little bit overwhelmed. So you forget sometimes just to support and praise the child. And when you have this external help from this digital tutor or games, you are genuinely enjoying yourself. Yeah. Some of the fear is already...
You're not carrying it all on the weight of it, because I hear that all of the time. And then school districts, they're changing how they teach math. So what I learned in elementary school, they're teaching children how to do completely different now. And parents are like, wait, I have to learn math all over again.
Yes, and I think there are a lot of funny videos on TikTok about that. Now, what parents were taught like 20 years ago, now it's taught differently, and they find themselves lost what they should or should not teach. And I think this is one of the very important things about mathematics, that if you found any solution, you are already right. So there is no one correct solution. This is not the case. And this is what we are trying to teach in the app, to show different variants of how you could solve a task, how you could approach a task, that a mathematical task can have several solutions. This is very important to understand.
I love that, because you're addressing diverse learning styles, because they're, no child's the same, right? Like everyone learns a different way. And I think that's incredible. So the app comes in 16, am I correct? 16 languages.
Yes, it does. It comes in 16 languages. So the technology really helps us a lot. The Sleep and AI helped us to move very fast. And now a lot of children can experience this type of mathematics in their own language.
That's awesome. So I have like a more in the moment question. So say I have, a 6-year-old, right?
Sure.
And they're in the app and they start to get stumped. What can parents do to identify like opportunity there?
That's a great question. So the best way to navigate the difficulties in any math problem is asking questions. So, wow, it seems there is some tricky problem. What do you think we should try? Or, wow, what have you tried? What do you think we should do? And I think it's important to understand the child should have the opportunity to drop the problem. And that's totally normal. Some problems will be outside the capabilities of the child right now. But again, it's important to understand that the brain and the doesn't stop thinking about the problem even if you close it. So in the next day on the background, the child brain will be thinking about the problem if they made this thinking effort from the very beginning. And you will be surprised. Most probably in a month, the child will come back and solve the problem easily.
Oh, that's great to know.
That happens so many times because we talk with our users and we receive the same questions. For example, we have hints inside the games. So in case the child is stuck, there is a special talking character, talking buddy, which will be telling the child, like, if you need any help, please come for support. And then the child will be able to move through the task. And the parents were very worried. What if the child will be using hints all the time? They are not learning. This is a very, very often a question that we receive many, many times. But the reality is that no child will be using the hint forever.
Right.
They will be using the hint only until they begin to feel themselves comfortable approaching the problem. And this is totally normal. This is a great step in their development. So just let them be. I mean, They can stop, they can close, they can be frustrated. The important thing about learning and education, that you will be challenged. If you are not challenged, then you're not learning.
No, I love that, because it teaches children that you can't be the best at everything. And I've read so many different books where, especially in the US, we overly say, oh, you are so smart. Oh, you're so great at this. And it actually can have a detrimental effect later in life when they become average, right? Or if they come up to a situation where, they are having struggles, they just want to quit. Where I feel like your app is giving them the opportunity to say, okay, I don't get this right now, so I'm just going to be done with this. But like you said, like they're still thinking about it, right? Like that's our human brain. It's natural for us to kind of like not be able to just give up what we weren't able to accomplish, but then they come back to it. And even if it's a month later, it's okay. Your kid is okay. And even if there's hints, they're just learning. And that's all we can ask for. So what has been a couple really cool success stories that you've heard from parents?
We received a very, very heartfelt email from a mom who has dyslexia, and her kid has dyscalculia. And they were struggling as a family how to find the approach to teaching mathematics. The mom really wanted to help her daughter, but just they couldn't find a program that fit. Her daughter was struggling with numeracy, and she was easily frustrated because she felt that she was failing. And she thought that when they tried our program, so it is personalized. Our digital tutor tries to help the child to go into their own zone of proximal development. So this is a term which was coined by Lev Vygotsky. So effectively, the zone of proximal development is something that you are not able to solve on your own, but you can solve with a little help from a mentor or a tutor. So this is exactly the best place to be if you want to learn effectively. So our tutor tries to find this zone of proximal development and walk you through that. And surprisingly, this girl was happy to continue learning, and the mom really saw that now she could help her with this program. I think it was a revelation for our team because we really wanted the program to be effective for every child, but we also understand that the children are very different. So some have autistic traits or dyscalculia, and they need maybe different approaches. We were very interested on whether we could help them, and definitely we're very happy to hear that potentially we could. So this was, I think, the first story. And then the second story was quite funny. We have a game, an early coding game about ninja, which should find its way to the cat on the building. Our idea is, if you fail a task, you do not need to feel as a failure. So that should be something funny. And in case you're failing the task, the ninja is just falling off the building, which is quite funny for kids. So we got several emails that the kids were, all they were doing was helping ninja to fall constantly. And and the parents were very, very worried that I think like they're not learning. And I was very worried too. And I wrote back to them, please wait for a month, then please write back to us what you see. And in a month, several of them wrote back and said, yeah, okay, now the child is solving on their own. They are on the upper levels of the game. So this is just a normal stage. When you are going into the game, you try to make yourself comfortable to understand the rules. And after you understood the rules, the natural inclination is to break them, to check what will happen if you will just be experimenting and breaking the rules. This is exactly what we want to teach. To have a creative thinking, mathematical thinking, you should be able to break the rules, to try and experiment, to make your own conclusions. This is what we are trying to achieve. Yeah. And it's working.
This episode of the Mom Betch podcast is brought to you by btrnation.com. Oh, hey there, Supermom. Are you looking for a snack that will fit your healthy lifestyle and allow you to keep up with your busy days? Well, say hello to BTR Nation. BTR Nation snacks are low sugar, low carb, high protein, high fiber, and low sodium. So it's literally everything that we need to stay energized and feel great. From protein packed bars to guilt-free truffle cups, these snacks are designed to support your active lifestyle and satisfy your cravings, which is why they are my favorite. But the best part is we get to use code MOMBETCH for 20% off and free shipping. So if you're ready to upgrade your snack game, visit btrnation.com, grab your favorite snacks, and fuel your mom's superpowers.
Hey, silver lining, they know what's incorrect, right?
Yes,
Like they know
again.
the right answer and they don't want to choose the right answer. They want to have a little bit of fun. So I love that creative thinking. And I love that it's inclusive, right? So mamas, like this obviously isn't going to be the only format, right, to teach your children math, but no matter where your children's at, it's an inclusive app to help them learn. And that's all we can ask for as parents, is to have more resources like this to help us, especially if we're not good at math. How do we stay up to date with everything that you're working on? So say you have a child that's really leaned in, say they're like really into math. Hopefully more children really lean into math because we need it. But how do they stay up to date with like new advancements or new things coming to the app?
Well, we definitely announce all the things on our social media accounts. We announce it in our newsletter, email newsletter, but also usually we try to design all the new things so that when the kid comes to the app, they really straight away see what is new in the app. And definitely, and a lot of new content is coming. We have a working collaboration with the research teams. And I need to say that we see much more interest in math education, which is great. Like we are working with the behavioral we are working with the Professor Jo van Herwegen from University College of London and her lab. And I remember her saying that when she started, that was about 20 years ago, she could keep track with every research paper on early math education that went out. Yes, and that was just because that was such a narrow space. Not many people were going into it. And now that's definitely impossible. So that gives a lot of hope.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so if we were to recap everything that we just talked about, do you have a couple bullet points? I'm going to ask this in two ways. Tips for children to get them learning how to basically strategic problem solve at a young age. And then a couple tips for parents to not feel so overwhelmed by the concept of mathematics.
So I think, we work with very small kids, tips for children, that math should be embedded into play in this age. They learn better play. And for parents, there are like several tips. First of all, try to make it playful and not think that you can irreversibly break something. You would not. What you could do is not moving to abstract concepts early, for example. So that's essential to play for a long time with manipulatives. And the more you use your hands and indeed manipulate objects, the better. For example, neuroimaging had shown that even when people work on number calculation, like multiplication, our mathematical thinking is still grounded in visual processing. So there are several pieces of research that show that the more you play with objects, the more you visualize like numbers with number line, the better your kids will be in number fluency.
Oh.
In fact, we see that from the kids who are really fluent very early on. Several years ago, I understood that my son counts completely different than I do. So they really make their own methods. he was subtracting something like 72 minus 25, and he was very quick. So I asked him, how did you do that? And he said, okay, that was easy. Like 25, then move to 30, then 70, 72. Okay, all in all, it's 47. I said, okay, so you're not subtracting, you're adding up. It seems the he was so good at visualizing the number line that his brain just saw this shortcut.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, and if you try it, adding is really more simple than subtracting in that case.
I mean, like, my whole life has changed now with math. Just listening to that, I'm like, my brain would have never conceptualized that. But now I'm going to have my husband like throw me some numbers today.
And the brain is very much interconnected with your body. So you can play math using your whole body. For example, again, I was fascinated by the fact that I think I was reading a thread on Math Overflow, how different mathematicians exchange ideas on how they see mathematics versus how they explain mathematics to their colleagues. And there, Professor Terence Tao, he mentioned that, for example, rolling around on the floor with his eyes closed helped him understand some math concept. Yeah, this is really the case. You can test with small kids. For example, they are already fluent in counting objects, but then you can ask them to jump 5 times, and that will be much more difficult for them.
Oh.
You can experience all this in various ways. Then next thing is try answer open-ended questions. Like take number ones, for example. How we usually train them. Let's split 5 into 2 parts. 3 plus what is 5? And you say, okay, 2. Or that's okay. That's very helpful. But now let's take 5 cubes and ask the kids if they could split them into any number of groups and write the equation they got. So that starts the discussion of how you could split it. Maybe it's even 5 plus 0. And in fact, when kids find this very non-standard solution, they're very happy with themselves. Then the next question will be, okay, there are so many variants. You found like really different variants. Now, let's try to think of all the possible variants. How can we find that? And again, it will be enormously difficult, but give them time. They will try it out. And then you could ask guiding questions. Okay, so maybe let's first find all the variants when we have one group. This is definitely only one variant. That's 5 plus 0, right? Okay, cool. We have. Now maybe let's find variants when we have only 2 groups and then only 3 groups. And this is algorithmic thinking. This is problem solving that helps them to see numbers in a much more flexible way.
And I'm sure parents, if they see what's inside of the app, they can bring those type of practices into real life, which is like even better because I don't have to think of it. Like I've seen an example and now I can, come up with my own way to do it inside of the household. And I'm having fun thinking about doing it with Lakin. So that's incredible. So I'm sure everyone is wondering, and I waited to the end to ask this, but where are you located?
So now our team, I think, is located in 7 countries.
Wow.
So my co-founder, Sasha, is in the US. I currently live in Israel. And a lot of team lives in the US, in Spain, in Serbia, in Georgia. So in the UK. So we are truly international from this point.
I love that. I think my favorite thing when I first started talking to you is sometimes when you think of these apps, you just think of like this miscellaneous person, right? That is just creating an app. Like you don't really have the personality or the person behind it, but you're a mom and you're making the app, which is so cool because you're going to have the empathy and the love for the app, just like you would want for your children. Has that been really rewarding for you?
Yes, it was. In fact, we have 5 kids among our 2 founders, and kids was the main reason we started. But then it outgrew this goal. We understood that we want to share this experience with families, and kids were always our first supporters and also our first testers. My co-founder, her elder kids, when we started, were already close to the teenage years. And we were very lucky because in the first, I think, year or 2, we won a lot of international awards, including even Kids Screen Awards. So we are the only math app that won a Kids Screen Award. And that brings another level of respect from the kids, to be honest. First of all, I always can explain what I'm doing when I'm working, and they always can help me with my job, which makes this bond, our bond, even better. I also always loved math, to be honest. So yes, as you told, we are moms, and we always were math lovers. So this product is very personal for us. This is what we wanted to share with our kids, and now we wanted to share with the world. And we are really happy that we see that this product is also very effective, because I think that the situation with mathematics that we have in the world is very close to the situation we had with literacy 200 years ago, when just quite a small amount of people were considered to be smart enough to be able to read. Now we know better. So I think, and we both believe that there are no math persons in the world, but it's difficult to change the situation quickly. And I think the technology and the app can change that.
I have one personal story with math that I'd like to share. So when I was in college, it was business statistics, and it was business statistics A and business statistics B. And business statistics A had a fail rate of over 80%. Wow. And I, based on where I was at, asked if I could take both at the same time, and I had to get special approval. Well, what was interesting is the A class was very much your standardized education class, where it's like, standardized math testing, where they try to trick you almost like to get the right answer. The B class was in the business place. So like supply chain management, right? Like I was reading books that applied to real world scenarios. I got a D in A, and I got an A in B.
Wow.
And they said you would never be able to pass B if you couldn't pass A. And so I went to the university and I was like, well, can't you just give me a passing score for A? Like I took your harder class and I passed with flying colors, but this other class I like failed. Like, isn't that an issue? Like my brain can't do standardized math, but if I can apply it to the business world, I'm actually quite sharp. And I thought that was really interesting for me. And now I think about that as a parent of like, I don't want my child to feel how I did in that situation where, you go up for a class like that, you find out it's a hard class and you just don't want to do it because you might actually be good at it. You just might have to learn it in a different way. And so I love what you're doing. And I think it's incredibly beautiful. Math is, everything in our world, right? And I love that you're bringing it to life in more, I don't want to say logical, but more situational lifestyle situations, and you're making it fun and entertaining and you're gamifying it. I think it's really cool. Do you have anything that I haven't asked that you'd like to tell?
Yeah. So, I have one question for you. So let me ask you. So you received an A on a really complex math class.
Correct.
But I think 20 minutes ago, you tried to tell me that you're not good at math.
Well, but that's probably what's wrong with the world is when I think being good at math, I think of the standardized math practice. And today I come out of this conversation thinking of math completely different, because I think 1 + 1 = 2. If you're not good at that type of math, right? In my head, you're generalized public, you think you're not good at math. But now I'm coming out of this conversation like, no, I'm actually really quite good at math, because if it's like, it's just math in a different way.
Yeah, so this is in fact what is interesting and fascinating about this situation, because there are so many inherent biases, subconscious biases, unconscious biases about mathematics. And I think there was a very recent and interesting research about that. So they divided teachers into 2 groups, and they took the math assessment from kids. And in one group, they changed the names on the math assessment.
Oh.
So when you see the name, you already know whether it's a boy, for example, or a girl. And they asked the teachers then to mark the assessment. It appears that teachers judge differently depending on the sex and the bias. And there are so many of these biases that to quickly overcome it, I think maybe we need this digital tutor who doesn't use a little bit. He doesn't know which gender the kid is. It is totally neutral from this point of view.
Yeah.
I also wanted to tell and to have the opportunity to tell that we are going into schools. And we're launching a school edition. We think that schools can be incredible partners, and we really want to earn that trust. So we have this results from the randomized controlled trial that shows that math apps can really help in bridging this math gap. And we are currently inviting the districts, the schools who want to pilot Funexpected Math in their classrooms to participate. We want to have a large-scale evidence on how we can help kids. And so we are a supplemental solution. Our team is really great. We will be helping on each step of the way. And we're inviting districts, teachers, and everyone who could be interested in this pilot.
Awesome. And how do we get a hold of you?
You can write directly to my email. This is nata at funexpected.org.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll make sure to put your contact information in the description of the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on today. I feel like you have healed my childhood math trauma. And I think it's going to be such like a really fun and awakening conversation for all parents to listen to say like, no, we have some more help than we thought we had yesterday. And I'm walking out of this conversation like, I am good at math. Like,
yes, you are. You definitely are. So.
Awesome. Well, everyone, make sure to check out the description. We're going to have all of the information for Funexpected Math and contacting Natalia if you are interested in getting your school district involved. We can't thank you enough for coming on the Mom Betch podcast. We hope you take over the world, as I'm sure you will. Everyone, have a great day. If you are loving the Mom Betch podcast, we really want your help to like, subscribe, and rate wherever you listen to your podcast so that we can get more Mom Betches to find us. But I have to give a shout out here for a second. Did you notice the quality of this podcast audio? That's because we have a podcast editor. Miraculously enhance your audio, get custom edits based on your preference, and let your podcast editor make the episode sound so much better with her audio content optimization. If you have a podcast or want one, talk to Taya, our podcast editor. She can help you strategize, edit, make social content, and keep you on track to make sure you have the very best show. AI can only do so much, so treat yourself and set up a free meeting with Taya to see how she can help you with your podcast. Go to tayachura.com/podcast. That's TEACHURA.com/podcast.
Women need to empower women, and our voice matters.